It's different rules now. It's different rules now. You gotta watch what you motherfucking say to me regarding anything.
Nicki Minaj is celebrating Megan Thee Stallion's legal troubles, and it's getting really dark. What started as a seemingly harmless collaboration in 2019 has spiraled into one of the ugliest feuds in recent hip-hop history. With diss tracks, serious allegations, and even attacks on deceased family members, this beef has gone far beyond music. Here's why their 2024 beef just got way worse. Back in 2019, Megan Thee Stallion and Nicki Minaj had what looked like a budding friendship. Megan was on the rise, already carving her place in the rap scene with her fiery freestyles and confident stage presence. She looked up to Nicki. In fact, she was a fan, and when they linked up during an Instagram live session,
"We love you! Oh my gosh!" Since mother 2008, when I was in 8th grade and I could listen to rap music on my own.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much.
fans went wild. The result? A summer anthem, Hot Girl Summer, featuring Nicki Minaj and Ty Dolla $ign. The song was a hit, went double platinum, and gave fans a glimpse of what could have been a powerful alliance in female rap. But that friendship didn't last. Things started shifting in 2020. That year, Megan dropped WAP with Cardi B, a record-breaking track that pushed her even further into mainstream success. Now, this move didn't sit well with everyone, especially considering Nicki and Cardi had their own deep-rooted beef going back years. They had even gotten physical at one point, with a now infamous altercation at a New York Fashion Week party in 2018. While Megan publicly said she didn't think she needed to call Nicki before collaborating with Cardi, some fans speculated that decision may have left a mark. Megan made it clear in interviews that she wanted to work with whoever she wanted, and that her relationships with other artists shouldn't dictate her career decisions. But behind the scenes, something definitely shifted. The friendly banter between Nicki and Megan disappeared. By January 2021, Nicki had unfollowed Megan on Instagram, a modern-day signal flare that something was definitely off. And that unfollow didn't just come out of nowhere, it seemed calculated. Around that time, Nicki was re-emerging online after taking time off for her family, and the timing of the move felt intentional. Fans noticed it right away, sparking speculation that tension had been brewing long before. Some pointed to subtle cues, like Nicki no longer liking or commenting on Megan's posts, or Megan leaving Nicki's name out of recent interviews. Others wondered if there were conversations behind the scenes we'll never know about, possibly involving label politics or personal slights. It wasn't just about Cardi. It may have been about loyalty, about who Megan aligned with, or even just a slow-growing distance that turned into resentment. For Nicki, whose career has been marked by loyalty tests and public fallouts, the move felt like a quiet declaration that the alliance was done. And for Megan, who was still building her empire, it might have been easier to focus forward than try to mend a relationship that was already fraying. The unfollow was small, but in rap, silence and pettiness often speak louder than words. And from that point on, it was clear the vibe had changed, and the honeymoon era of their brief friendship was officially over. Nicki began to drop subliminal shots in her music. Take her verse on Seeing Green in 2021, for example. She rapped about women being thirsty and threw in references to alcohol and challenges. Fans instantly started connecting the dots, especially when she rapped, "She say she hot. I said, well, come and convince me." That line, paired with others about people claiming to be her ops, sounded like a challenge directed straight at Megan. The alcohol line, in particular, struck a chord because of rumors that Nicki was referencing a moment when she felt pressured to drink while pregnant, and many believed she was pointing fingers at Megan. That moment was unpacked further when Nicki took to her Queen radio show. She spoke about a female rapper who encouraged her to drink while pregnant and even suggested she get an abortion. Though she didn't name anyone, people speculated that she was talking about Megan. Things got even more heated when Nicki pointed out that the same person didn't congratulate her on her pregnancy or even acknowledge the birth of her son. Megan eventually responded on X, claiming that the story was entirely false. At this point, it wasn't just music anymore, it was deeply personal. Nicki started taking every opportunity to fire off subliminal and sometimes not so subliminal shots. In December 2023, she dropped Pink Friday 2, and the lyrics were filled with jabs that many believed were aimed squarely at Megan. Lines like, "I don't fuck with horses," since Christopher Reeve, felt like blatant shots, considering Megan's stage name and the fact that Christopher Reeve was paralyzed after falling off a horse. Then there was the verse about a 40 cal making someone dance, a line that sounded eerily similar to Megan's 2020 shooting incident with Tory Lanez. And while fans initially debated whether those lyrics were general jabs or specifically directed, the pattern made it impossible to ignore. Nicki layered references that tied directly into Megan's name, public image, and past trauma, doubling down on themes that felt far too pointed to be accidental. Other tracks on the album included metaphors that aligned with Megan's branding, deals, and even slang she had popularized. The reference to 600 horse and catch the sauce were also seen as digs, hinting at Megan's Popeyes deal and hot girl branding while mocking her commercial appeal. The lyricism had a venomous edge, and for listeners paying attention, it was obvious who Nicki was going after. The use of coded language had become her signature during beefs. But here, the gloves were off. Nicki wasn't just throwing shots in the dark, she was name-dropping without name-dropping, and it added a sinister undertone to an album that should have been a triumphant return. For critics, it begged the question, was this an artistic expression of frustration, or was Nicki using her platform to publicly humiliate someone who once looked up to her? Either way, the lines hit hard, and they didn't go unnoticed. Nicki didn't stop there. On another track, FTCU, she appeared to take more shots, with lyrics mentioning Tory Lanez directly and even referencing Iggy Azalea. The subliminals were adding up, and fans knew exactly who she was targeting. It was no longer a Cold War. By January 2024, the beef officially hit its boiling point. That month, Megan clapped back in the most hip-hop way possible with a diss track of her own. She dropped Hiss or Huain Puiur, and it was full of venom. One of the most talked about lines, "These H's mad at Megan's Law." This was a layered and deliberate attack. Megan's Law is the federal law that requires public disclosure of sex offender information. The reference wasn't random. Nicki Minaj's husband, Kenneth Petty, is a registered sex offender, and her brother was sentenced to 25 years to life for sexual assault against a minor. The line was sharp, bold, and targeted. Megan continued the assault with jabs like, "Your weak aid won't address me," and "the G must stand for goofy." She was done being subtle. She didn't hold back, and the response, it came quick. Nicki fired back with Bigfoot, and it was brutal. She accused Megan of using ghostwriters and even suggested she offered sexual favors to get beats. She called her Bigfoot, made fun of her height, her injury, and even referenced her deceased mother, repeating lines telling Megan she was lying on her dead mother. This wasn't clever wordplay anymore. It was pure disrespect. Nicki's barbs cut deep, and people online were divided. Some felt she crossed every line imaginable, while others praised her for going hard in a diss track. Oh, but one thing was clear, this beef had gone way beyond music. Shortly after the track dropped, the situation spiraled. Nicki's fans reportedly found the location of Megan's mother's grave and posted the address online. The internet turned dark. Fans speculated about grave vandalism, and things reached a level that most rap beefs don't. It wasn't about bars anymore. It wasn't even about competition. It became a campaign of humiliation and harassment. As the dust barely settled from that exchange, Megan moved forward with her music. In June 2024, she dropped her self-titled album, Megan, and it didn't take long for listeners to spot more jabs at Nicki. On the song Rattle, she snapped with lines like, Your life must be boring as F4K if you still reminiscing about Saint that we did. On Figueroa, she threw another punch. I'm a brat, not a Barbie. That wasn't just a bar, it was a direct shot at Nicki's barbs. When asked about the beef in interviews, Megan remained cool and collected. In a September 2024 Billboard feature, she admitted she didn't even know what started the feud. She said she had no idea what there was to reconcile. For her, this wasn't about a personal betrayal, it was about someone else choosing to go on the offensive. But even in live performances, the shade kept coming. In April 2025, while performing at Coachella, Megan brought out a dancer in a Bigfoot costume, mocking the diss track from Nicki. It was cheeky, it was petty, and it kept the feud front and center in fans' minds. By July 2025, things took another turn, but this time, not in the booth. Megan found herself in the middle of a legal case when a former cameraman, Emilio Garcia, accused her of sexual harassment. He claimed that she had sex in a vehicle and made him watch, mocked his weight, and created a hostile work environment. Megan filed to have the case dismissed, but in July, a federal judge ruled that the case would move forward. It was a major blow, and Nicki didn't waste the opportunity. That same month, Nicki took to social media, posting "We Give God the Glory," alongside reposts from DJ Academics mocking Megan's legal situation. She even reignited her attacks on Jay-Z and Rock Nation, Megan's management at the time. It wasn't the first time Nicki had taken aim at Rock Nation. She's had issues with them dating back years, and with Megan caught in the legal fire, it became just another front in the war. But the hope? That somewhere this beef doesn't turn into something worse. So, what are your thoughts on how far this has gone? Was Nicki out of line with her lyrics? Or did Megan strike the first blow with the Megan's Law line? Is this just the nature of rap beef? Or has it evolved into something more dangerous? Let us know in the comments. And if you're into deep dives like this one, subscribe for more.